Welcome to The Issue, here on YourTV. I'm Mark Carr, and I'm glad today to have John Sawyer, the retired president of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, as my co-host. So welcome back. You have a good summer?
It was an amazing summer, and I'm so glad to be back. It's nice to be back.
First retired summer?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
And so you did a lot of things that Marianne was wanting you
yes,
to do.
I had a very long list. I'm only partway through, but working on it.
Good, good. Well, it's nice to have you back, and you've brought in the Halton Learning Foundation. Leslie is here, and I'll let you do the introductions if you don't mind, John.
So Leslie Mansfield is the executive director of the Halton Learning Foundation. Leslie and I had the great pleasure, at least on my part, of working together when I was at the Chamber. So we did a lot of things together. There were some synergies that we could capture. So thank you for coming in.
You're welcome,
and she has brought her friend Michelle Lemaire, who is a principal with the Halton District School Board. So welcome.
Thank you.
And my first question is
fire the first
for
one.
Michelle. We'll get right to it. I will admit, 15 years ago, before I started working at the Chamber, I lived in a bit of a dream world. I had no idea of the needs in Halton. And one of the things people like Leslie have done is raised my consciousness about the needs. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the needs that you see as a school principal here in Halton.
You use a really good word, raising consciousness, and that is something I myself had been a part of that journey for me too, and a lot of the staff that I work with, we have an increased awareness now of the needs around us. As educators, we work really closely with young people from kindergarten all the way through to high school. And having that awareness is very, very important, because oftentimes the school staff that work with our students and our families, so from the intake process, welcoming them into the school, to registering them at school or having them in the classroom, that is our first interaction with families, and that's when we are more aware of what their needs are. And so, over the years that I've worked at the Halton District School Board, I've learned about the needs in the community, and it varies. It varies from as simple basic needs of food on the table, not having food that day, so coming to school super hungry, and just our staff kind of watching and going, hey, I wonder if. And they would continue to observe and sometimes ask probing questions. Hey, how's it going? You okay? And that is really the first step of us kind of helping families in need.
Leslie, how are those needs identified, and how do you address the needs that are expressed from the schools?
Those needs are identified primarily through the schools when it comes to the secretaries, the social workers, guidance counselors, teachers, principals, the custodians, the gym teacher. When they see a child that needs something or might need something, as Michelle mentioned, they start saying, how's it going and everything. We had a very interesting opportunity. We did our back to school appeal just this past August, and we received over $42,000 worth of financial need from people in our community. But what happened as well is that we had parents call us, and we had parents say, I heard about this back to school campaign you're having. I can't give right now, but I need. Mm-hmm. Can you help me out? So then we have a conversation with the parent, and it can be, as you can understand, extraordinarily embarrassing to ask for help. If you can't take care of your son or your daughter, how in the world do you say that out loud? Already they've taken the step to be able to call us to say, I need some help. I don't need a lot, but I need some help. So we'll have a chat with them, and we'll find out what their school is, and we'll say, you know what, we know the principal, we know the secretary, we know the teachers. Give them a call.
So the referral does have to come from the particular school to the Halton Learning Foundation.
That's right, and the referral comes very, very quickly. The school sends us an email just saying, here's the initials of the child, here's their age, and here's the need. And we provide up to $250 per school year per child, and that can be in the form of a gift card to a store. It can be in the form of a meal card if it's a high school student for a cafeteria. It can also be reimbursement to a school if it's a school trip that they want to go on but they don't have $10 to go on the trip, so we'll reimburse the school. And then we provide another $200 on top of that, $250 for things like field trips.
Okay.
You had mentioned the contributions that you received from the community.
That's right.
How do people know about the Halton Learning Foundation, and how do you actually raise the money?
People have heard about the Halton Learning Foundation through a lot of awareness that we've been able to get out there, whether it's through YourTV and Cogeco. Thank you very much. You are an incredible supporter of HLF. Through other media partners that we have, such as Metroland, we go out and we talk to schools and guidance counselors. We make sure that we work with chambers of commerce all over Halton to let them know that we are here and we're helping the students. And the neat thing that I want to share is that when we get that email, Mark, we answer that request in under 2 hours. We don't ask for the student to wait. We don't say, you know what, it's going to take us a day or two to get back to you. We get that email at 8 a.m. The child has support by about 10 or 10:30. And that's what needs to happen. They don't have time to wait. They don't have time to sit there and say, well, I hope that I'm accepted. And that's the thing that I'm so proud of with Halton Learning Foundation, is that we've said yes to every request that comes through.
You've never turned anyone away.
We've never declined a request, and if it's outside of our purview, if it's outside of the amount that we're able to give, there are partners in our community who I can turn to and say, we have a student that needs this support and we can't afford to be able to do it right now. Can you help? And we've had people in our community saying, you know what, I'll help that child. I'll help this family. It doesn't matter if I live in Milton and the child's in Georgetown. It doesn't matter if I'm in Oakville and I'm helping someone up in Acton. It doesn't make a difference. And I find that incredibly heartwarming, and it makes my job so wonderful when I see the people in Halton region, all the way throughout Halton region, saying, you know what, yeah, I can help.
Leslie, it was interesting when I went on your website that you aren't supported by the Halton District School Board from a financial perspective. So how do you get that money? I understand you can go out to the community individually and get it, but are businesses, can they give?
Absolutely, business.
And how does that happen?
So John had asked the question earlier, and I forgot to answer you, John. We are funded directly by contributions from corporations, from individuals, including parents in the Halton District School Board community foundations in Oakville and Burlington and Halton North. We don't receive financial support from the Halton District School Board or United Way or provincial government agencies. So we are out there, and I'm in my car a lot. And my job, which is a really neat job, is to wander around Halton and go up to all areas of the region, whether it's on Kerr Street or up to Ferry Lake or over to 5 Side Road or downtown Milton or on Fairview Street in Burlington. And I ask companies and I say, here's our story, here's about children in need, will you help?
One of the things that has always impressed me about you and the organization is how nimble you are. And I've heard some really great stories. Can you give us a couple of anecdotes, stories where an example of how you've helped, a specific example? Julia Hanna told me one. You were recently on her show about running shoes.
Yeah, we help out with running shoes. We help out with snow boots. We had a company a couple years ago who had brand new coats, and they said, we'd like to give you all these new coats. Well, the office that HLF operates out of is a double wide portable. It's a lovely spot, but we don't have a lot of storage space. But we thought, you know, if this company's offering this to us, we can make it happen. And we were able to get those coats out to kids as soon as we received them, within about a week or so. And we made sure that they got out to the kids in need identified by the principals. But we've been able to help out. We had one student who was identified they needed to have a hearing aid. And hearing aids are expensive. Yes. And this child, her hearing was decreasing quite significantly. She was losing all of her friends. She had a very volatile relationship with her mom. It was a very bad situation. Her grades were slipping. And the principal said, Leslie, is there any way HLF can help out with this? And I thought, we can't fund a hearing aid. But I met with one of our other wonderful donors in our community. Doesn't live near the student, And they said to me at the very end, Leslie, is there one student that needs help? And I said, yeah, there is one. So I told the story of this little girl. And within, I don't know, a blink of an eye, she said, yeah, we'll take care of that. And it was so heartwarming, and it was so incredible to see that someone realized that's the need out there. And when these kids don't have the ability to be able to learn in an effective manner, whether it's providing glasses to them or a hearing aid, because HLF does support purchasing glasses for kids, they don't have to worry about buying them themselves.
We had one student like that too.
Yeah.
Their glasses broke.
Yeah.
So we just couldn't replace it. The family couldn't afford to replace it because it's a single income family. And the actually not even, I think one of the parent is not working yet. So we had to find a replacement set of glasses for this young person, and HLF was very quick to tell us, okay, you can go to this place and get a set of glasses right away to replace.
Michelle, you're a frontline person at the school. How does you being able to access the money that HLF, Halton Learning Foundation, supplies to the students, how does that improve the students' learning capabilities?
It gives me and my staff reassurance that we have someone to turn to, that will never say no, and the interest of this child is always at the forefront. It removes all the barriers to learning. So as I said earlier, the very basic need of food taken care of. Now you have one less thing to worry about. Now you can concentrate on your learning. We have another, I'll give you an example of a student who was a newcomer to our community and was very excited to start school, and one of the favorite subjects that they were looking forward to was phys ed. But over time we noticed that that child did not turn up to phys ed classes. So frontline, classroom teacher, hey, where have you been? We missed you. Guidance counselor asking. Found out that the child was too embarrassed because they didn't have any running shoes. So it's simple things. You remove that barrier. You go to HLF and say, can you help? And the answer is yes, no problem, right away. And boom, the next day the child's back in class. It's as simple as that.
Leslie, who sets you said $250 per
That's right, yeah.
student per school year. Who sets that amount?
Our team does. Our team at HLF, we take a look at the amount of funds that we have, and we say, you know what, there's 10% of poverty in Halton, and the HTSB has 65,000 or so students, so that's 6,500 children that live at or below the poverty line at one time or another in their lives. So we say, you know, we'll do $250 for anything that they need as an emergency, and we'll do another $200 for field trips. So technically a child could receive $450 from HLF. But there are many times where we have said the situation is so dire that we will support this student again.
So it's flexible
and
then.
again, absolutely,
Okay,
because
okay.
we have we have the lines in which we operate. But moreover, it's saying, but if the student, you know, if they need something, it's not up to us to say, no, you've already had your support, so enjoy your day. That's not how we work. So we have had principals coming back saying, you'll never guess, this happened to this family next. So not only did the dad pass away after being in a coma, but then the house burned. And then the parent, then the two boys are living in a hotel because they have nowhere else to live, and they're in grade 11, and they said, we've already asked you for support for groceries for them, and for clothing, and for hygiene items, toothbrush and toothpaste and soap and deodorant. But also, we'd like to know if you'll help them get their driver's license by paying for it, because the family car is still there. I never thought in any way or shape or form we'd ever fund a driving license application for a child. But there was an example of they can't get back and forth to school easily, so they needed to have their driving license. They don't have the money for it.
So, Michelle, when you make a recommendation to HLF and Halton Learning Foundation is just accepting the recommendation from the school, is that as far as your investigation goes, just by visually seeing that there is help required?
We certainly get the resources to help the family, and we we try as hard as we can, as much as we can, to inform the HLF. This is how it's made an impact on this child's life or the child's family's life. So oftentimes we're so happy to share the information, right? It makes us feel good that we have in fact helped someone have equitable access to learning.
Leslie, when you get that recommendation from a principal, one of the administrative assistants at the school, do you know specifics about the individual and or the family?
No. We have the initials of the child, and we have the situation in which they're in.
Okay, so, and then it's turned back to the school to actually deliver those services.
That's right.
Okay, that's...
And it's important because you want to make sure
I think that's very important.
I mean, the privacy is so important, and also it's very discreet. Because you don't want to have someone traumatized twice by sharing their story about, I don't have enough to be able to support my son or my daughter. So it's done very quietly. So as I mentioned with meal cards, you can have a high school student who can just go to the school cafeteria and hand in their meal card, and they look like everyone else. And I don't care if you're 5 or you're 15 or you're 50, everyone wants to belong. You don't want to look different. We all the same mugs. We don't want to look different. And when you look different, you feel a little bit left out, you feel kind of ashamed, you think, well, why don't I have something like that? And that's part of what we do, is that we make children feel like they belong to the best of our ability, to be able to be the financial support for all the teachers and secretaries and principals and everyone who works in the schools, directly helping the students.
I guess guidance counselors have a lot of input into it.
Guidance counselors, social workers, EAs, classroom teachers,
secretaries.
They're all there, and they are our eyes for the kids.
Okay.
They're the eyes.
I know John wanted to ask about an upcoming event.
It's my business head, because it's always about the money. So can you tell us about the fundraising efforts that you have?
Yeah.
I know you have something coming up, but
yes, we do.
Maybe you could just expand so people can be aware of this is where the money comes from, and here's how they can contribute.
Sure. You mentioned Julia Hanna, and she's going to be our MC at our 16th annual benefit bash.
Oh, look out now.
And she's going to be fantastic. Julia is an amazing person, and such a community activist and just entrepreneur and dynamite person. So she's going to be our MC. It's at the Oakville Convention Center on the 7th of November, and it's our major fundraiser. We have other smaller ones during the year, but usually they're fundraisers that people hold on our behalf. So for example, Snap Oakville did a golf tournament for us back in June, and we were the co-recipients of the proceeds. And that was so kind of them to say, you know what, Leslie, we'd like to invite HLF to be involved with this golf tournament. What do you think? But our benefit bash is our largest one. And that's where we bring everyone together all across Halton, and we bring in a student speaker, and we bring in student involvement as much as we can to make sure people see here's exactly where your funds go. And I think that's really important, is that when you give an organization $1, you want to know where that dollar goes. That's really important. You don't want to have it just disappear into the ether. It's what happened with my dollar. So this is an example of where the corporations that sponsor us have a chance to be able to say, oh, here's exactly where my help goes.
And if somebody is watching the program today and wondering how they get in touch, how they can contribute to the Halton Learning Foundation, how would they get in touch with you?
They can go to our website, haltonlearningfoundation.ca. We have all the information there. They can certainly call me. They can send me an email at mansfieldl@hdsb.ca. They can get a hold of us at any time, and it would be wonderful to be able to have other people out there who don't know a lot about HLF but want to learn about what we do and how we help kids. And they can give us a call, send us an email, whatever works.
I guess just the contact with Halton Learning Foundation, because if you do get a student that maybe needs some specific assistance, just that contact from a corporation that may be able to help is a positive thing.
Oh, it is, and we so appreciate all those who give, whether it's payroll deduction with the Halton District School Board employees, which is fantastic, whether or not it's a corporation or an individual. We thank them so much, and I'm really excited at this opportunity to be able to say thank you to all the people who are out there watching and those who've yet to watch, and to thank them for supporting Halton Learning Foundation, because we literally cannot do that without the people in Halton.
Do you think Joey could put up the contact information at the end of the program?
He did.
He did, of course
Yes.
he did.
Yes, he did.
As usual, I'm a step behind.
And I guess, Michelle, I understand how important it is for a student to feel part of a larger community, but also to maintain the privacy aspect of their circumstances. And that must be difficult. Are the teachers and those that recommend people to the Halton Learning Foundation, is it always kept very confidential?
Absolutely. We would never compromise the confidentiality, the identity of the young person or the family. And we're used to it. We're used to keeping information private. And so, whenever we do identify a need or a family comes forward to share their needs and ask for help, we want to do it with dignity, right? And we want to afford them the opportunity to access resources so that they can go about their way to allow the young person to access education. And one of the things I wanted to comment too, as an educator in the Halton District School Board, I live in Halton myself, and it warms my heart when I hear about companies, organizations within the Halton region giving back to the community. And I think that's one of the things that really pull out the heartstrings and really strike a chord with a lot of us, because it is funds raised by the community for the community. And to Leslie's comment, we know that whatever we contribute, every single dollar goes back to the child and put to good use. And in my world of education, whatever barriers there are that prevents a child to access education, we need to remove it, because education is what will elevate them and give them the opportunity to be successful in their own lives. And it really, in the long run, gives back to our society at large, because we know education makes a big difference, right, in making change for oneself.
Statistics are important. And I just wonder if you collect statistics about an individual who has been helped, their academic performance prior to being helped, and their academic performance after being helped.
Not specific statistics to that individual that we access help to, but we see the immediate impact right away after they receive the help, such as the attendance of that child to phys ed class. A lot of the information that we gather are anecdotal. So in terms of statistics, no, we don't gather specific statistics to the person.
The one thing, though, that I'd like to add on to that, because the child who I mentioned that needed the hearing aids,
Yes.
I talked to the principal.
And that's the one I was thinking about in particular.
And that was one that we don't see very often at all. But I contacted the principal and I said, "So, how is she doing?" She said, "Leslie, her grades have gone up." Because why? She can hear people. She's making friends again because she's not saying, what are you saying? What are you saying? Her relationship with her mom started to improve. And I saw this girl at the very beginning of the year, and I had told her that we would get funding for her hearing aid. And then the donors asked if they could meet her. So I worked with the mother and the principal and the child, and the donors came to the school to meet the child. And when I saw the young person 6 months later with her hearing aid, and she was a different kid. And she had a smile on her face, and she was engaged, and it was such a stark difference.
Well,
and
not only from the academic point of view, but from a social point of view,
more holistic,
she feels part of the larger community.
Exactly. We helped out a student last year with funding for him to go on the school swim team. And we received an email from the school saying he'd like to participate, but he doesn't have the money to be able to do this. Can you help him? It was $85. We received an email from the student saying, thank you. I bought a bathing suit. I bought slippers. I was able to buy a towel. I was able to buy goggles and a swim cap, and now I'm on the school swim team. Thank you. And to me, that was the most incredible thank you letter that I'd ever received. Anything for $85, it changed his life. It made him feel like he was part of everything, and that's incredible. That's like there are the boots in the ground. There's exactly what happens, how that can change someone's life.
So on that high note, we have to leave now. So thank you very much, Leslie, for telling us more about the Halton Learning Foundation, and Michelle from telling us from a very frontline perspective how the Learning Foundation does help kids in the community.
Would I have time for one more thing before we go?
Sure, one more.
I just want to let you know that's day 16 of school, and already we have helped 206 students in Halton. That's 116% more than last year at this time. The need is increasing, and we so appreciate the opportunity to be able to be here to educate your viewers about what we do, and thank you for your help.
Well, thank you. Good guests, John.
Good to see you.
And you have got some interesting guests coming up on the issue.
I sure do.
We'll have Glen Abbey on at some point in November.
Yes, November the 8th. November the 8th, we're going to get their perspective on what's transpired over the last couple of years.
Great. So on behalf of John Sawyer, retired president of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, I'm Mark Carr for The Issue here on YourTV.